Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Jennifer and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Elizabeth. How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm really excited about today's topic because it's something that everyone learning English can benefit from: how to have engaging and effective conversations in English.
Yes, conversation is at the heart of communication, and being able to start and maintain a conversation is key to becoming fluent in English. Today, we're going to share some essential tips and strategies to help you feel more confident in your conversations.
Before we jump in, I just want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We're here to help you improve your English one step at a time.
And if you've been enjoying our content, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your support really helps us keep creating these videos for you.
So, Jennifer, let's start with the basics: how to start a conversation in English. A great way to begin is with a simple greeting followed by a question. For example, "Hi, how are you?" or "Hello, what have you been up to?" These questions are open-ended, inviting the other person to share more.
Absolutely. Starting with a question is a great way to get the conversation going. Another tip is to use small talk to ease into the conversation. You can talk about the weather, recent events, or even compliment something the other person is wearing. For example, "It's a beautiful day today, isn't it?" Or, "I love your jacket. Where did you get it?"
Yes, small talk is an excellent way to break the ice and make the other person feel comfortable. It's especially useful in casual settings or when you're meeting someone for the first time. And once the conversation is flowing, it's important to show interest in what the other person is saying. This brings us to our next tip: active listening.
That's a crucial one. Active listening means fully focusing on the speaker, making eye contact, and responding with comments or questions that show you're engaged. For example, if someone says, "I went hiking last weekend," you could respond with, "That sounds amazing. Where did you go?"
Exactly. Active listening not only helps you understand the conversation better, but it also makes the other person feel valued and heard. It's a great way to build rapport and keep the conversation going.
Another important aspect of conversation is asking follow-up questions. This helps keep the conversation moving and shows that you're genuinely interested in the other person's thoughts and experiences. For example, if someone mentions they watched a movie, you could ask, "What did you think of it?" Or, "What was your favorite part?"
Follow-up questions are key to deepening the conversation and avoiding awkward silences. They also give the other person a chance to share more, which makes the conversation feel more natural and engaging.
Definitely. And speaking of avoiding awkward silences, another tip is to share a little about yourself as well. Conversations are a two-way street, so while it's important to listen, it's also important to contribute. You might say something like, "I love hiking too. I went on a great trail last month."
That's a great point. Sharing your own experiences helps balance the conversation and makes it feel more personal. It's also a good way to build a connection with the other person.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of building connections, let's talk about using conversational connectors. These are phrases like, "By the way," "That reminds me," or "Speaking of which," that help you transition between topics smoothly. For example, if you're talking about movies and you want to switch to a related topic, you might say, "Speaking of movies, have you seen the latest Marvel film?"
Conversational connectors are so useful because they make the conversation flow more naturally. They help you move from one topic to another without feeling abrupt, which keeps the conversation engaging.
Definitely. And here's another tip. Don't be afraid to express your opinions. Conversations are more interesting when people share their thoughts and perspectives. Just remember to be respectful and open to other viewpoints. You might say, "In my opinion," or "I believe that," to introduce your thoughts.
Yes, sharing your opinions makes the conversation more dynamic and interesting. It also invites the other person to share their views, which can lead to a deeper discussion.
Absolutely. And on that note, Let's take a call from one of our viewers who wants to share their experience with improving their English conversation skills. Let's take the call. Hi there, you're on the air with Jennifer and Elizabeth. What's your name, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Elizabeth. My name is Maya, and I'm calling from Toronto, Canada. I've been watching your channel for a while, and I've learned so much from your videos. I wanted to share a tip that's really helped me improve my English conversations.
Hi, Maya. It's great to hear from you. Thanks for calling in. What's your tip?
Well, one thing that's really helped me is practicing conversations with myself in the mirror. I know it sounds a bit strange, but it's helped me get used to seeing myself speak and made me more confident when talking to others. I practice different scenarios, like introducing myself, asking questions, and responding to different topics.
That's a fantastic tip, Maya. Practicing in front of a mirror is a great way to build confidence and work on your body language and facial expressions. It's like a rehearsal before the real thing.
Absolutely. It's a great way to practice speaking naturally and getting comfortable with different types of conversations. Do you have any other tips for our viewers who are looking to improve their conversation skills?
I would also recommend recording yourself while you practice. It helps you notice areas where you can improve, like pronunciation or pacing. And it's really satisfying to listen back and hear how you're improving over time.
That's excellent advice, Maya. Recording yourself is a powerful tool for self-assessment and progress tracking. Thank you so much for sharing your tips with us.
Yes, thank you, Maya. We really appreciate you calling in, and we're so glad to hear that you're making progress with your English conversations. Keep up the great work.
Thank you both so much. Have a great day.
You too, Maya. Take care.
Bye, Maya.
That was such a great call. It's always inspiring to hear from our viewers and learn about the strategies they're using to improve their English.
Yes, Maya's advice about practicing in front of a mirror and recording yourself is so valuable. It's all about building confidence and refining your skills, which are key to having successful conversations.
Absolutely. So, let's move on to some more tips for enhancing your English conversation skills. Another important strategy is to be mindful of your body language. Nonverbal communication plays a big role in conversations. Make sure you're making eye contact, smiling, and using gestures to emphasize your points. This makes you appear more engaged and approachable.
That's a great point. Body language can say just as much as words in a conversation. It helps convey your enthusiasm and interest, which makes the conversation more engaging for both you and the other person.
Definitely. And another tip is to use appropriate expressions of agreement or understanding. Phrases like, I see, that makes sense, or I agree with you show that you're actively engaged in the conversation and that you understand what the other person is saying.
Yes, these expressions help to keep the conversation going and show that you're paying attention. They also encourage the other person to keep sharing, which makes the conversation more dynamic.
Absolutely. And here's another tip: practice paraphrasing. This means repeating what the other person has said in your own words. It's a great way to show that you're listening and to clarify any misunderstandings. For example, if someone says, I had a really stressful day at work, you might respond with, so it sounds like work was pretty intense for you today.
Paraphrasing is a powerful tool in conversation because it shows that you're truly engaged and that you care about understanding the other person. It also gives them the opportunity to clarify or expand on what they've said.
Definitely. And while we're on the topic of clarifying, another important tip is to ask for clarification if you're not sure what the other person means. It's better to ask than to pretend you understand and miss the point. You can say things like, could you explain that a bit more? Or, I'm not sure I understand. Could you clarify?
Yes, asking for clarification is a great way to keep the conversation clear and ensure that you're on the same page. It also shows that you're genuinely interested in what the other person is saying.
Absolutely. And here's another tip. Don't be afraid of pauses or silence. Sometimes, a pause can give both you and the other person a moment to gather your thoughts. It's better to take a brief pause than to fill the space with, Pausing can also make you appear more thoughtful and composed.
That's a great point. Pauses are a natural part of conversation, and they can actually make your speech more impactful. Gives the other person time to process what you've said, and it allows you to collect your thoughts before responding.
Definitely. And finally, a tip that's often overlooked: don't be afraid to end the conversation on a positive note. If the conversation is winding down, you can close it by summarizing what was discussed, expressing gratitude, or suggesting a follow-up. For example, "It was great talking to you about this. I'd love to continue our conversation another time."
Ending the conversation on a positive note leaves a good impression and makes the other person feel valued. It also opens the door for future conversations, which is great for building relationships.
Absolutely. And for our viewers, if you're enjoying this conversation and finding these tips helpful, make sure to like the video and share it with others. Your support really helps us continue to create content that helps you improve your English.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We've got plenty more videos coming your way, covering everything from conversation tips to advanced communication skills.
So, before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap of today's tips. We talked about starting conversations with greetings and questions, using small talk, practicing active listening, and asking follow-up questions.
We also covered sharing your own experiences, using conversational connectors, expressing your opinions, being mindful of body language, and using expressions of agreement. Plus, we discussed paraphrasing, asking for clarification, embracing pauses, and ending conversations on a positive note.
These tips will help you have more engaging and effective conversations in English. Remember, conversation is a skill that improves with practice, so keep speaking, listening, and learning.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep practicing, keep learning, and enjoy your conversations in English. You're making great progress every day.
We'll see you in the next video. Take care and happy learning.
Bye for now.